What's up, everybody? My name is Chris Branham, and this is another session of Strategies for Creatives. And today we are talking about your creativity aligning with your vocational choice. Let's brainstorm. All right, so over the weekend, I had a good conversation with one of my bros, and we were talking about his direction and where he wants to go as far as his business, as far as his current job and position, and even transitioning into another position in his job before he just jumps full steam into his business. And one of the things I asked him, I was like, well, what is your desire? What do you want to do? And his creativity was taking him in one direction, but his current position had him in a totally different direction. A lot of us can contest to that and feel that currently, right? I've been there and it's not fun. But I definitely understand because he needs a position, he needs a job because he has, responsibilities, he's got his own space. However, he desires to do something that's related to his creativity and it matches his vocational choice, even a little bit, right? You might not get the whole thing, but you do want at least some so you feel like you're utilizing your gifts and abilities. So what I encouraged him to do is, one, work on your portfolio. Work on what people can see in order to see how they can leverage and you can leverage to show them what's necessary and you have the skill set. Because if you can't show them the skill set and you can't talk about it or speak to it, it's very difficult for people to trust you in that environment. Now, you might be a very skilled individual, but if we don't know how to convey that information to someone that you want to hire you or someone that you want to do work for, more than likely it'll be very difficult for you to get the position. And that might only be related because you might know them as far as a relationship and they just feel, they might feel sorry for you and just got to give you the position just to help you out. You don't want that. What you want is your expertise shining above and beyond so you can feel that and reflect all that you know to them. And that's going to be the main thing. If you can reflect that, it's going to be great. So then now it's just like, well, how do I do that? After you build that portfolio, get all that information that you need, package it in a way that is readable and it conveys that information properly, you have the best success in order to walk into that position. Now, granted, just because it's one doesn't mean that's the one you're going to go for. That's the one that they might hire you for. Put in several resumes, put in several positions, go after several clients. Don't stop at one. The more you have as far as the multitude or a maximum amount of information and a maximum amount of opportunities, the more you will hit your desired goal. And the other thing you want to think about too is make sure you're confident in that role. Make sure you're confident in clarity and understanding when you're pitching and positioning yourself to receive opportunities. A lot of times you might have the capabilities and the skill set, but if you're not confident, it's not going to convey well. And it's going to be very difficult for you to escalate and excel in those areas that you desire. Now, granted, again, every job doesn't necessarily mean that you will be able to exercise and utilize all your creative gifts. This is where now some jobs might not have none of your gifts associated, but what can you gain from them? What information, what soft skills can you work on to now pull out some of your creativity in other areas? Soft skills meaning communication, collaboration, organization, how to convey information, right? Connectivity with, individuals in your team. All of these are going to be needed regardless if you're working on your creativity or not. This is a totality of all of your gifts and your being to show someone else that you are the capable individual for the job. When you align your creativity with your vocational choice, it doesn't mean that you will get the desired amount of income. This is a mistake for a lot of people. Do not assume that just because I'm in my area, I'm going to make the money I desire. That is another part that you'll have to think about. In order to maximize that, that means your output and what you're putting out has to reflect the amount of money you desire. So what does that mean? That means whatever you're doing, in whatever environment that you're in, They have to have the capability to pay you for that. And they have to desire what you're offering. And now this is where negotiation steps in. As an entrepreneur, you have the capability to negotiate, but you have to have that portfolio, you have to have that resume, you have to have, those references to back up what you're saying and justify what you should be paid. Now, if you're going to an employee and you're trying to get hired and you're not contractor, but you're trying to be, 9 to 5, and you're trying to go in there with W-2 instead of 1099, that's going to look different. They might already have allocated funds for that position, and that might be all you can get. So now you have to think about, is that the area that I want to go in? Now, if you go for 1099, there's a little bit more flexibility, because now what you're looking at is, I have to make up the difference, or I have to pay out my taxes. I have to come up with, my insurance and a few other things. So there's more wiggle room with how you can negotiate your pricing, but you have to justify it just like an entrepreneur. Why are you the person for the job? What do you offer? What can I leverage from you? Because what you're trying to leverage from me is my cost and my break even. So that's where a lot of this comes into play. And in order to make those balance as far as your creativity to meet up with your financial goals, make sure you have a plan coming in the door and you're not winging it. Know your numbers. Know how much you desire to make. Know how much it's going to cost you per hour, per week, for the lifespan of the project. So it makes sense, not to just the person you're pitching, but it makes sense to you and you're not wasting time. Hope that helps somebody. Again, always love to brainstorm with you guys. If you have any comments or questions, I love to sit down and brainstorm with you, and making your creativity and your financial goals mesh together and make sense. Peace.